Good morning, everyone in the North American continent, and if you are overseas, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to a little random surprise live stream of the Script Doctor Creates. So this is where I'll be doing some interesting little things here, just to give you a little clarity about what is going on. I was hanging out with a good friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a few months yesterday after the Midnight's Edge in the morning show. And yeah, he hired me to take this sketch he did of a spaceship and animate it into a 3D model. And so I simply said, hey, would it be cool if I live streamed my process doing this? And he was all gung ho for it. So that's what I'm doing here today. And I'm so happy to see you all in the chat to embark on this cool little thing. I see we got Joey Tarmanel. We've got good old Adega Outlaw. Good morning, sir. And John DeVoice, David Rose. Thank you so much for swinging by. Let's get started here. So I'm using an old program, just one that I'm actually kind of very familiar with. And personally, I would love to have used my original Autodesk 3D Max Studio '09, but the company kind of decided that even though you spent several $1,000s on the program, you now have to pay monthly for it. So we'll screw that. We see Setlick 3 Gaming and Phantom 5692. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. So, this ship that I'm designing, well, not really designing, but like adapting from a sketch to a 3D model, is for one of my friend's stories, which I don't know if he's going to announce it for like a public funding or if he's going to pitch it to studios. That has not been privy. I've not knowledge I'm privy to. But it's basically just like an interesting and unique sort of space freighter or like space trucker type thing. So we're going to go and play around with this. I wish I had a camera so I could show you the sketches, because I have physical papers here that I'm going off of. And also I'm having to also drink some really bitter chamomile tea this morning because it's part of my nutrition. So if you hear a pause abruptly, that's me sipping on this terrible brown water. Oh gosh. Okay. So yes, I'm using for those of you curious, I'm using an old free to-access program called Autodesk 123D Design. I typically use this to create my base form models, and then I would actually import it into another 3D program, traditionally 3D Studio Max, where I would do like skins and fine-tailed details and all that stuff. But I don't have access to that, and maybe I should probably learn Blender to do that. But for now, we're just going to do the basic model because that's what I've been asked. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with just a ball here. Oops. Come on, center on. Okay, don't center on. Whatever. So we're just going to do a ball here. And we're going to try and make essentially the body of the ship and then the mandibles used to carry cargo and freight. Joey, Autodesk, where more is never enough, correct? All right, so yeah, I'm just going to have some fun here, playing around. Please feel free to ask me any sort of questions you may have about what I'm doing or about what's going on there. Let's make that a nice even 4. Let's start this way here. There we go. All right. So yeah, one of the things that is really interesting about this sketch is that it's kind of like a traditional pulpy sci-fi rocket thing. That's the theme that my colleague's going for, and I dig it because I think those are really cool. John Ware Jr. says, embrace Blender if you want to pay an insane amount of money or take one community college course for the free student Autodesk license. Yeah, no, that's why I don't do any of the current Autodesk stuff. I do have Blender, I think. I don't know if it's the latest one, but it's definitely like a 2.9 or something of that nature. I have that, and I like it, but I haven't done all the proper tutorials for it. And one of the things that I haven't kind of figured out in my playing with it is that Blender doesn't seem to have proper symmetry. I can't do as far as I've been able to tell on that. Maybe they've changed it since then, but I had a difficult time trying to get points and vertices. Vertices and lines lined up on the 3D space what's wrong? What materials and outlines? There we go. Getting on the 3D space in order to get some good symmetry. So that has always been a problem I have faced. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So that's a start. We have Dave Rose in the chat says, Script Doctor, what did Tarantino meant when he said Sony is the last game in town? No idea. Unless it's referring to streaming. Because they were one of the first to start with Sony. And they had a couple of shows on there, one of which was Powers, based off the comic book property. And it was okay, but not great. And is that how it is? Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, it did not do what they wanted, wise. And so they ended up canceling that, along with Crackle and some of their other stuff. Let's see here. There we go. And so yeah, that's kind of what happened. Maybe that's what he's suggesting, is that Sony's the last game in town that's going the traditional route, perhaps. Not sure. And we'll have to wait and see. John Ware Jr. says Blender does have a mirroring modifier. I can send you a quick tutorial where it's used. I need to find like a whole thing, from a ground up tutorial from like the early stuff, and I need a good one, because I found a few where they spent 30 minutes talking about everything except for what they were actually doing, which was like making a donut. It's like, just tell me, go to this primitive, do this shape, enter these numbers. There, you got a donut. Don't tell me all the nodes, nodules, all that stuff. That is way too advanced for that basic part, if that's going to be your part 1 tutorial. Neil, before the power of my large male genitals, asks, what have you heard about Star Trek behind the scenes? Nothing. Mr. Tickle Trunks in the chat. Hey, sir, good to see you. Says, I love that even Autodesk uses your color scheme. Yes, they do. That is pretty neat. Am I doing this right? I think I'm doing this. I mean, I'm trying to match the shape that's in the sketch here, guys. So I apologize if there's a little lack of real movement going on here. Trying to get things going. It's an interesting design, and it is going to look very different when I'm done here. But I'm only going to be doing this for a couple of hours, because after this show I'm going to be heading over on to Midnight's Edge main channel, because they're having a wonderful birthday celebration for Tom Connors. So I want to be there for that. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll work. No, that's not going to be it. All right. So yeah, this is just a little bit of my little playing around process of things for you all. And, just shooting the breeze, keeping it light, as it were. And people constantly texting me. So we're going there. Okay, now let's get rid of the grid. I don't need you. I think that'll work for now. That'll do what I need it to. Okay, let's see how this flies. Okay, Mr. Tickle Trunk. So it's a giant foam sex block and a peen cap. It's all kind of weird. It's all kind of weird. Listen, it's all primitive shapes. I don't think that's gonna work out. Hold on, let's try something else here. Okay. Let's do 50, 5, and 5. There we go. Yeah, let's start getting more of the actual exterior shape of things first before, so that we don't get flagged by YouTube for trying to create some sort of inappropriate object, as it were. And that's supposed to be a little bit higher because it's part of you. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, "Oh, so a shape to cut with. I've never used Autodesk, only 3ds Max. Yeah, I miss 3ds Max, where I could actually just take planes and manipulate them in any way, shape, or form that I felt was best. That was a great program. Let's see here. Just fooling around with that part. Let's see where. Alright, we don't want to do that with you. There we go. Let's see here. Does James Cameron use this program? Probably not. I don't even think he actually does this stuff. He just probably tells artists in their own program to do what he wants. No, we're not going to do that. Actually, what we might want to do is loft it, maybe? I don't know. Just trying to get the silhouette down. Let's also... Oops. Nope. Nope. That's unfortunate. Don't have a flat enough piece to do this. Might have to start from scratch on this part here, but that's okay. All right. Let's see. Wish I did have that sketch to show you guys, because that's a pretty cool thing. All right. Let's. You know what? Yeah, we're just gonna start over again. We're gonna try something different here. Let's see. We're gonna try with a box. And then we're going to do that to copy it over. There, that's our center point. Okay. Okay, and let's... All right, let's see here. John Ware says, I love 3ds Max. I'm able to create objects and building with such ease. Yeah, such a good program. This is more of a basic one. I started using this, I can't remember how many years ago, but it was pretty cool. I dug what it was able to do, and really liked its versatility, at least at the time. Okay, this is going to look a little bit like a Y-wing for a bit at first, but that's it's just the nature of the game. Let's see here. Got to drink more of this. Ugh. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, 3-point sketch. There we go. Okay, that kind of works. All right. That seems to match this sketch. Shanatsky, hey, how you doing, man? Says the lost writer's statement on that book is pretty nice to go through. The entire environment was hostile as hell. Oh, really? That's something I should probably maybe check out. We also have Neil in the chat. Says, hello, Script and Chat. I hope you're all doing well. Neat idea for a stream. Well, thanks. Yeah, it's just a basics thing here. Just trying to get things figured out with this design and the shaping here. I think we can make that a little thinner. Actually, maybe I want to... No, we don't want that. Okay. Let's try getting rid of you. There we go. All right, and then make this part a little thinner, because this is apparently the mandible arm. And if I'm remembering, oh, that's interesting. What do we have here? A little artifact thing. Okay, no worries. All right, hold on. Yeah, okay. That works out. Let's see here. 6. Are we playing Pictionary? No. We're not playing Pictionary. We are just I'm just doing a thing for a friend who designed this little a spaceship for one of his stories I was working on, and I'm trying to reconcile it to into a model for him. And you know, just cool little fun thing here. Let's see here. I get to add a little bit of flavor of it for myself, but primarily, this is their design. Okay. And this is apparently also at the engine, an engine block, so to speak. All right. I think got some interesting corners there. We've got Lobster11 says, sup, all subscript doctor, just going to have this on the background while I grind some World of Warships. Cool. Okay. Now, let's see here. How does this top part? So this is got a curved front. I'm going to have to bring you back. So if that's the... Let's chamfer this a little. Nice little cool edge there. Let's pull you back to about 60. See how that... Ooh, NESA protector? No, Joey, this is not someone else's... This is not an existing IP ship. This is a brand new one. This is a very, very small vessel. This is something else. Okay. Let's just looking at the silhouette here. Oh, that's too sharp. Let's chamfer you. I will say, if I was animating an existing starship that you would recognize, it would be in the title. I'll put it that way, because that would be good for the algorithm. Gets people interested in wanting to see. Now, this is completely original. I don't know what's going on with with this story as of yet, but I hope if it gets off the ground, I get to participate in it in some other capacity. That'd be pretty cool. Neil says, what are some of your favorite spaceships in science fiction? Script for me, I actually love the Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a unique ship in terms of color scheme and design. I really like the Normandy in Mass Effect. I think that's a really cool spaceship. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Like the traditional Enterprise, of course. Yeah, I think the A-Wing is a really cool fighter in Star Wars. I like its sleek and basic design. Yeah, that's those are the ones that basically I'm thinking of right now. All right. So this. Oh, you're back here, huh? Okay. I don't want you. I want... Oh, this is going to be tricky. Not impossible, though. Go back 10. There we are. All right. And let's see. So... yeah, I'm going to need to make another box. Neil, with Star Wars and Star Trek being where they are, do you think original sci-fi series are set to make a comeback? Because I'd love to see a good space western, for example. I love the genre. They are overdue for a comeback, but there's a lot of shows that take the exact same aesthetic of each other to the point where it's never going to take off. If you've got something where it's very industrial-looking starships and grungy, kind of like how they did with The Expanse in some regards for some of their ships, and then also there's like Dark Matter, Deepwater Black. There's another one with a starship called the Tulip, but I can't remember the name of the show. If it's all featuring in that aesthetic, it's never going to take off because those aesthetics have been used for all of those shows, and those shows, aside from maybe The Expanse, did not perform the way the studios wanted. And in addition to the writing also being a little fluctuating at times. But yeah, you got to find a new angle to a new aesthetic that isn't, scrappy. Trying to emulate what Star Wars did with regards to some of their ships, but like going to the 11th degree, so to speak. Okay, so all right, and then that might be a bit too much, but let's. That might work. All right. Okay. There we go. Let's see how this kind of looks. All right, so we're getting somewhere. I think we're getting closer to what the actual sketch looks like. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. The script ship. Oh, no, I wish this was mine. This is not. This is someone else's design that I'm just assisting with. Happy to assist for him with that. Let's... There we go. It says invalid operation, but it worked out well, except for this little guy here. There we go. All right. Good to see you here, Nick. How you doing? Neil, agreed script. I just finishing a book called The Captain by Will White. Excellent indie author. In it, the ship needs to have a symbolic connection with each of the crewmates and selects them. Oh, interesting. From there, the ship's capabilities are unlocked. So I agree we need some new ideas, and I like the idea of a sentient ship having a purpose for a crew beyond piloting it. It unlocks its capabilities. Yeah, it reminds me similarly to Moira or Mora in Farscape. That was a sentient ship that didn't need that much symbiosis to its crew, but it definitely had a relationship. A pilot was connected to them, so that was pretty cool. Let's see here. I'm going to hide you. And to extrude you. New. That could work. Maybe. Actually, this, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try something a little different. Wonder. 10, maybe 5. Yeah. Yeah, trying to match this sketch is a little tricky, but it's a cool overall design, I think. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. The thing is, I'm sure plenty of new ideas are out there. Maybe Hollywood is just not letting them in. Hollywood in general probably is very eager for them. It's certain players that probably just don't want them in, or don't care, or don't want to spend money on it, or don't think it's a viable idea. There's many excuses. That's one of the things the industry loves to do, is they like to make excuses for things because that's how they keep their jobs. It's better to be like, well, at least we didn't blow our money on that, as opposed to, I can't believe you spent several $1 million on this project that was garbage. That you don't want. You don't want to have that. It's just part of the game. Okay. Let's see here. No, that was not going to split anything, so that's got to go up higher. But let's bring it closer. Okay, let's see. All right. Sorry, I was just trying to catch up with the chat, guys. Very happy for your participation here. Ironcaster, your avatar needs a tool belt for this. Yeah, I should probably find something like that. John Wayne Jr., if your computer can handle it, Unreal Engine 5 has the basic 3D modeling. It also has a marketplace full of usable models and materials and effects. It's also free. Well, I have an RTX 3070, so let me know if that's good enough to handle that type of engine. Might explore that. No reason not to give it a try if it's got some options for me. Anything that allows me a little bit more manipulation with the models, I'm all down for. Because that's one of the things I liked about old Autodesk 2009. Was that, yeah, I can manipulate the models. Man, this is kind of looking like the NESA protector. But I'm sure once I'm able to get some more stuff figured out on that. Oh, excuse me. Bad tea. John DeVoice says, does the movie industry have preferred 3D modeling programs for making animated movies? Nope, just whatever works. Whatever works gives them what they want. They don't care. Whatever works is their preferred model. A lot of studios have their own proprietary technology. Some studios actually use Blender. Some use various forms of Autodesk. They don't care. Whatever works. Oh, it's being fickle. Really, it's not letting me go beyond 10 points for merging on this? Well, that's bad. Can't calculate. This is gonna be a trick. Let's see. Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm gonna have to delete that comment there. Let's see. Okay, let's at least mirror you. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Wrong side. There we go. Alright, and then I'm gonna have to get some cylinders. Well, that's a little too big. There we go. Okay. Is this how they got it? I think this is how he got. How is it? Um, Kneel before the power of my large male genitals says if Kurtzman is scabbing during either strike, will he face consequences? You have to prove that he's scabbing. In order to do that, you have to know exactly where he is, when he is scabbing, and have evidence to support that. Not just from one source, but from multiple sources in order for that to happen. So, if you're at CBS Studios, be it in LA or in Mississauga, Ontario, and you happen to see him there, and he is doing something that is like writing, record it with your camera, record the date and time, and you can send it to, go to the WGA website, and they've got an email where you can send that information to them, and then they will make the appropriate response and provide the appropriate penalties if they so feel it is valid. But that's the big point, if they feel it is valid. Nights Edge After Dark is asking, how is his name okay? I don't know, Tom. YouTube hasn't done anything wrong with it, so it's okay, I guess. Neil Before the Power says Section 31 going in onto production soon. Should count, right? Not if there's a director's strike, which we'll find out tonight. So, yeah, that's something to consider. Don't think I'm capturing this the way it's supposed to be here, because it's really tricky. I'm gonna keep you here for now, just as a reference, because you look like tweezers. Let's see. John Ware Jr. says, do you use Final Draft? If so, have you used the new interactive script templates? I do use Final Draft. I don't use the script templates. They're the least thing. Final Draft shouldn't have even put those in there. They're stupid. You don't need them. Other than the general genre ones, like the comic book template is fine, but it's not exact. I mean, everybody has their own kind of variation of it. The old Warner Brothers template that they have in there is incorrect format, so they screwed up there. And so I just use their default. It's far better. What they really need to do is they need to start fixing their collaboration part, because it keeps crashing on people. It's me and some of my own writing partners have had several frustrating experiences with it, where not only can we not save because the file is still open even though you're saving the same file, but also they'll have latency issues, lag, on the server that's connected to the collaboration model. So yeah, it's pretty frustrating. It can be done, but it's pretty frustrating. I don't need to do that part. Neil, what will happen if there's a director strike on top of the WGA? Well, that'll be two departments in production and pre-production that will not be able to function. They'll be striking, and that means Hollywood is going to be having a larger gap of nothing being made at that time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. There we go. Oh, that's cool. I was not expecting that to happen. Huh, somehow it's hollowing it out. There we go. Okay. That could work. We got Kitty Bear in the chat. Hello, Kitty Bear. Good to see you. How are you today? Neil Before the Power asks, do you think we will see an industry purge if the DGA goes on strike? Every strike comes with a purge of some degree. Some people outlast it. Some people don't. It's nothing new. Nothing new. Some good people will unfortunately be out of the industry, and some bad people will remain, and sometimes the reverse can be true. We can only hope for the best. I know a lot of writers, fellow writers, even some other talent are having some difficult times right now because there is no work, essentially. And yeah, it's not ideal, but it's something that everybody's going to have to push through for a while, myself included. It's not easy for me. That's probably why I'm able to. It's essentially why I'm doing more YouTube right now. It's just, and I just just need to supplement the income I otherwise would be getting writing. And YouTube's okay for that. Not great, but okay. Could be better, of course, but if I keep doing this, maybe it will. So, see what happens. There we go. So that's okay. Well, that's looking more like the sketch part. That goes like so. Again, it does have a tweezers type look, which I kind of dig. So I'm trying to maintain that. And Kitty Bear says, I hope you didn't have anything to do with Fubar because the episodes with the PC overclocking to make the clock keeping time on the PC go faster was hair ripping from my head bad. I don't write about things of that nature. But no, I was not working on Fubar. Neil, Before the Power, is Canada on strike? We should be. Well, the Writers Guild of Canada is not the same as the Writers Guild of America. However, Writers Guild of Canada rarely works on U.S. projects, and none of the companies in Canada are on, as far as I know, are on the list of striking of companies to strike against. So there's no conflict there. However, writers in Canada work in the United States because that's where there's money, and that's where their jobs are. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. You will not find a WGA writer working on a show like Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, even if it's filmed in Canada. Not going to happen, unless they're part of both unions. But it's not going to be a solely CG writer. Neil. Yes, because we've seen the consequences of the last strike with all the reality TV. Nope, reality TV existed long before the 2007 strike. Were there any screenwriters who shifted into writing books, for example, during the last strike? Almost everybody writes a book. I've got a couple of novels in the works, but I'm just trying to find an appropriate publisher for them. When it comes to reality TV started in the late 90s, took off with Survivor, if you remember that show, and everything else just kind of followed suit afterwards. and that lasted for many, many years and still lasts to this day. The idea that the 0708 strike led to the rise in reality television is a myth. It was already very cheap to produce, and one of the contentions with regards to the strike was the fact that if you were a writer on a reality TV show, you couldn't qualify for the union, and that was something that needed to be addressed. It also kind of blurred the lines more between what a producer does and a writer does, so it kind of mixed into the fact that a writer can now also be a producer, which was kind of a... My understanding was it was kind of a rarity, or at least it wasn't talked about as much. But now it's all you ever talk about when you're pitching something is that you're going to be writer producer on this show. It's just the way it is. 32 Flavors of Nick Wire says, "Yep, I remember Survivor. My dad worked with Dan Hatch, Richard Hatch's brother. Oh, cool." The only thing the 08 strike, says Neil before the power, gave us was 2 crappy seasons of Prison Break and Alex Kurtzman. Well, Alex Kurtzman had already been writing a little bit prior to the strike, but it did open up some more opportunities. He was actually writing Transformers and Star Trek during the strike and was reported, and nobody cared back at that point because he was working with J.J. Abrams, who was a hot ticket at that time because he produced a terrible show called Lost, which fooled the industry. Well, most of the industry, and just was such a nothing show. At least in my opinion, I thought it was terrible. It's like they're already dead. We're just wasting their time, or you're just wasting our time with that. His whole mystery box stuff. That's where it started. How do I want to do this? Yeah, I thought Alias was okay, but he kind of dropped the ball on that, and that's when I started to pick up on his lack of skill. I think that'll work. Yeah. Let's see, how does this work? Okay, that kind of fits. Neil before the power asks, is JJ done? Not 100%. There's definitely going to be some people out there that'll still give him some shots or some work or opportunities. But enough people are kind of realizing what Tom from Midnight's Edge has said, which is that the only people that make money off of J.J. Abrams movies are J.J. Abrams. So I think that's kind of that's fair. So we'll see what happens. We shall see. Neil before the power asks, has there been any progress with the WGA strike and a resolution, or does the industry want this? As far as I know, there hasn't been any return to the negotiating table. If anyone else in the chat knows if there has, please share that with us. I would love to know. It's my friends on the picket line, have not heard anything other than where they're going to be striking and what they're going to be doing. So there is that. Whoa, that was weird. I don't want that. Nassim Shambor is here. Hey, Nassim. There's a good nothing show like Seinfeld. I mean, the show wasn't about nothing. It was actually about where a comedian gets their work. But the joke when they were making the show within the show is that it's about nothing. They were actually just mocking the sitcoms and the desperation that writers have when they're trying to impress people. Very, 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 very funny little aspect here. Yeah, it's not literally. The fact that audiences took that as literal means that they kind of missed what the joke was going on, but that's okay. It was still, it worked for what it needed to be in that regard. Okay, I think that's working well. We got McKinney Draws. Hey, McKinney, how are you doing, man? If you haven't seen, and if you're not familiar with, McKinney has a cool art channel. Go check that out. Actually, let me just mod you, McKinney, because you can drop your channel in the chat, because you do some really good stuff, and your progress since you started it up to now is absolutely fantastic. So, Neil Before the Power says, so your take on Marvel pivoting back to successful writers, is Marvel going to be back on track? No idea. I have to wait and see. Okay. All right, so that's that. So there's the clamp. That's also an engine drive. That's what he's got here. Joey, Flash, save every one of us. Yeah. Oh yeah, Flash Gordon's awesome. If you haven't, head on over to Nina Infinity's channel later. She had an interview with Sam Jones of Flash Gordon last night to promote a cool comic book that he's doing. That's not working for me. Okay, so let's... Neil Before the Power. If KK is forced out, who do you think will replace her? KK is never going to be forced out. Industry doesn't work that way. Industry does not work like a normal business. With her 40 plus years in the industry, having built the careers of some of the biggest players that are around today, yeah, she's not leaving until she wants to leave. No matter what. Only unless she commits some sort of egregious crime publicly that she can't be, that the media can't hide, will she then be leaving. That the whole idea with regards to the industry is that you do favors for other people, they will come back and do favors for you. In fact, Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, I believe, just wrote an article how Peter Rice, who was fired by Bob Chapek at Disney, has now signed a non-exclusive contract with A24. Took him a year to find that job and negotiate with it, but he's still around and he's still working. For someone who, by comparison to Kathleen Kennedy, is a nobody and he's still able to get work, Kathleen Kennedy is definitely not going anywhere, despite all of our desires to see her retire, or at least go back to proper producing and not being a creative president of a studio. Let's see here. Nick Weiser says, I think it's a mixture of several things, not just one thing, but I'm looking forward to Script's answer. Thanks. Read by Nature says, seems like a lot of people are doing indie comics now. Chris Jericho was on Drinker's channel recently with his. Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's when the mainstream is not fulfilling the need of the audience, the alternative will eventually fill that gap, and then that alternative will become the mainstream. That is how it works. It's just the way things grow. See, that's not working for me. I gotta figure this out. How do I match? Okay, that works. Okay, so I got that out. Joy says, KK is neutralized. No new Star Wars movies. It's enough. Don't get greedy. Well, she's temporarily neutralized with this strike. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I might have to pull this back in order to recreate something. Yeah. kind of works. All right, Neil. Neil says in the chat, the strike is the big monkey wrench that is going to decide the fate of a lot of projects, especially with the DGA possibly going down that path. Yep, and also the actors have already voted that they will go on strike if a deal is not reached, and their negotiation is pretty soon too, is my understanding. So Read by Nature is asking, just tuned in, what are you making and what program are you using? Well, I'm using Autodesk 123D Design, which is a very old modeling program. And I am making an original starship that a colleague and friend of mine has sketched a couple of variations of for me and has hired me to see if I can model it in this program for him as part of like the early steps to what one of his projects. And I don't know what type of project it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a television series, a movie, a video game. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's what I'm doing. Nick Weiser says, I think the reason Not Flash is tracking well is basically an all of the above answer. Ezra's behavior, DCEU stigma never existed, but the stigma for films did. Is real. Deciding interest in superheroes besides the top dogs, and also the end of the DCEU. Well, you can't end something that never existed. They were just DC films. They never coined it. They never trademarked it. They never did anything with regards to the DCEU. That was actually just a snide remark by a journalist who was trying to sort of rub in the face of Warner Brothers that they don't have a cinematic universe, because the reception to their films, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, were very, very poor. And the ones that loved it pushed for it and have yet to even come to a proper consensus as to what the E stands for. Is it expanded or is it extended? If it is expanded, expanded from what? Man of Steel? You really want to expand on that? That was pretty bad. Is it extended? Extended from what? The comic books? Because the comic books aren't doing the same thing what's going on in the movies. Doesn't make sense. So, yeah. Neil's asking, have you seen Robert Meyer Burnett's video, Are IP-Derived Films All Hollywood Has Left? It's really good and puts into perspective who Hollywood is facing the problems now, minus the strike. I didn't see that one on my list. The last one I saw was he was interviewing Danica, Comic Book Girl 19, on her Akira thing. Not sure when that video dropped, so I'm gonna that other one that you're talking about, Neil, dropped. So I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay. All right, so this is supposed to be the drive section. All right. Okay. Nick Wedge says, oh, yeah, you're right. Forgot that. I remember Jeff Johns mentioning that journalist making that name. That was when around the time MOS2 was turned into BVS, which was actually SVB initially. It was Superman versus Batman when it was first announced. And then they changed it because the head of Warner Brothers actually changed around that time. Trying to remember. Bear with me for a second. It was... So Barry Meyer left and was replaced with Kevin Tsujihara. And when Kevin Tsujihara came in and they did the Superman versus Batman, he said, no, we're changing it to Batman v Superman, because he worked in home video for Warner for many years, and the Batman stuff sold way better than Superman stuff, so that's why he did the change. Yeah, essentially Batman did take over Superman's sequel, Nick Weiser. Neil Before the Power asks, do you think Apple is the sleeping giant with streaming? Their shows aren't, so they can afford to lose money and invest in things that other studios can't. Just like kind of Disney has their property with the parks. And regardless of what's going to happen in Reedy Creek, they still own the property, which means that they'll still be able to do something with it to a degree. Won't be exactly what they have, but something's going to happen. They'll find some way. But they are going to get really, really spanked by the courts with the Reedy Creek stuff. I would say check out Legal Mindset and all the other LawTube channels that are addressing it. So Nick Weiser is taking off. Thank you so much for hanging out, sir. Always a pleasure to have you. Kitty Bear, I'm sorry for making fun of what you were doing. I have to admit it looks better than anything I can make graphic-wise on the PC. You're making fun. I was not picking up if you were making fun of me. So, sorry. But I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right. Yeah. As you can see, the shapes are kind of odd, but that's the case when you're dealing with spaceship stuff. Alright, so that's that part here. That's the fuselage. Now on the back part it's curvatured, but it's also got a hatch. That's interesting. It's got a hatch. Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat. You guys are great. Neil Before the Power asks, do you agree with the big problem with superhero films today is that there were only so many characters that cartoons are based on in the 90s? No, that is not it at all. Any character that's written well and is properly advertised out will create an audience for them. People will want to see them. Okay. Snowdub, what's cooking? Script? Hey, Snowdub, just making a 3D model of a colleague's sketched science fiction ship. This is supposed to be a kind of like a spaceship version of a truck. So it's going to have like a loading bed or something of that nature. In this case here, it's clamps. And the tail end of the clamps are also part of the engine drive. So it's a little complicated, but otherwise pretty cool. Is that what I want to do? No, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to do it on the inside here. There we go. Yeah, so I hope you're doing well. Read by Nature says, you know things are bad when your own studio puts out Lego Batman, where it openly parodies BVS with Joker jealous of Superman being more of an antagonist. Yeah, also when they put out the James Gunn's as a Suicide Squad, which is a mockery of all the extremities of what was done in the other movies prior. Sorry, I still got to drink this terrible tea. Oh, God, it's so bitter. Chamomile tea is not my palate. Nassim Chambord for 60. Thank you so much for the donation. Are you drawing inspiration from references to do this model? Usually when I model something on Blender, I open a collection of photos, usually something inspiring by nature. Only thing I'm doing right now is I'm basing off the sketches that my colleague provided me. And because I don't own a camera, I sadly can't show them to you. But yeah, I'm just basing it off of that and then adding a little bit of flourish, which he said was what he was looking for a little bit as well. So that's what it is. And I'm limited by what this program can do, but I do enjoy it because it is pretty basic and does some things that are helpful. So the midsection here, this arches. So can I wonder, will it let me carry it through? It does, but it goes a little too far. So I don't want to do that. Neil says, I recently watched Edge of Tomorrow and I loved it. The concept of a time loop is really cool and challenging to make good. I prefer it to time travel in that regard. A shame it bombed. Well, it may have not performed as well as expected. However, that movie spawned 1,000 time loop screenplays that were circulating around the industry. Everybody wanted a time loop movie. Time loop comedy, time loop drama, you name it. Yeah, didn't matter that it didn't perform well. It made enough waves that people were wanting to copy it. So, yeah. I will say I read far too many of them. They were all pretty bad. Pretty bad. And that's the other part too. Once some type of genre or subgenre or new combination becomes successful, everybody in the industry is copying it to try and get their next job, and they're not bringing anything as new to it as the industry is expecting. So it's pretty unfortunate in that regard. Okay. Have to go further back, I think. Yeah. Try you. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay, that looks a little interesting. All right, so Eaton Nass is here. Says, "What are we making today? A cool original starship based off of a friend's design. That they have they paid me some much useful cash to do, and when I asked them if it'd be cool if I also streamed my creation of this, they were down for it. They were very happy for that. They yeah." So that's what I'm doing right now, just for a little bit until the Tom's birthday celebration begins over on Midnight's Edge main channel. Which when that's about to get started, I will be dropping a link in the chat for that. So let's see here. We are going to non-uniform scale. 1.5. Joey, cell phones have cameras. Yeah, I'm not risking that. Cell phones also can accidentally switch which camera they want to use. So no, not happening. Reed by Nature says, I just love to be the one guy going around Hollywood at this time pitching a time loop film instead. Or a Tim loop film instead. Yeah, well, I mean, you can. Pitching's a hard thing to nail, but you've got a good idea and you've got all the answers ready, and you can sell the concept of the story in a very short time, like within a minute, you have a shot. What's going on here? There we go. go back 50. There we go. Nassim has asked, have you watched Az and Mahler's latest gaming streams? I think I perused a little bit of the Gollum game. They are playing the new Lord of the Rings Gollum, and that game looks really bad. The poor guys are struggling to finish it. It was fun watch. No, I've only seen a little clips here and there of Az trying to do it. And, yeah, looks like it's fun to watch, but terrible to play. Read by Nature says, so if it's a space trucker, is it meant for a gritty sci-fi setting or more fanciful universe? It is meant for a more 50s style pulp aesthetic. That's what my colleague's going for with this. And I thought that's pretty cool. Let's just get you back to normal there. And let's do that. There we go. So yeah, like rocket powered, or at least the aesthetics of it, not so much like actually rocket powered, but that's what he was telling me. He wants more pulpy. He thinks that design is pretty good. Similar to how, like, Elon's with his SpaceX stuff, it looks like traditional old sci-fi rockets. But it has obviously some current day technology to allow it for it's reusing launching and landing in the same fuselage, not so much separations and dispatching and disposable stuff. Galadorn 2 says most pitches end in your ideas being stolen. No, they don't. 100% they don't. And if you're pitching to someone who's taking your ideas, they're most likely not a real player in the industry. And you're being scammed. Whenever you pitch in Hollywood, if your pitch is good, they want to work with you. They want to make money off of you. They will not ever steal your idea. The only type of people that will steal your idea are people that have not made it in the industry. Because they're desperate to make it in the industry. So, yeah. Also, the more you spread your idea out there, show it online, have the receipts, the more people are going to recognize that it is yours. So if you never share it, you have no ownership of it. Even if you do have ownership of it, people have to be able to know that it's yours. So get it out there, share your work, make sure your name's on it. Not on every page, just on the title page and whatnot. You put it on every page, people are going to look at you like you've never actually written anything before. Because that's just the nature of the game. Neil says, I always loved the concept of retro future tech. It's one of the reasons why I dug the first Incredibles movie, as it had it with superheroes. Yeah, first Incredibles movies had that retro look and also that cool spy aesthetic, which I dug. I thought that was pretty neat. I liked how that worked out. Okay, I'm going to have to expand you. How big are you? You're 20. Okay. Galadorn 2 Asylum. Yes, Asylum is a very, don't work with them. I would say that they are not they have a reputation. And they don't care. They do not care. Okay, so that's that. How does this look on this side here? This is a fun design, but it's also really tricky to nail down on the model. Like, I understand why he's asking me to do it, and he's not doing it himself. Okay. Okay, so we got that. We got that. This is going to be in here. He's got a dock. So let's put you here. It's a small hatch. Okay, so that's where that is apparently supposed to go. Do that. As I am talking to myself to see if I can pull this off. Okay. So that hits the rear part of it. Why is that doing that? Where did I screw up there? Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay. Oops. This is where the fun begins. Okay. Want to go there. Okay, that works out there. And then I gotta get you to match here, which I can do. You. There we go. It's pretty close. I can mix some with that. Isuza Online says, "Hey, is here. Hey, how you doing?" Says, "Can you recommend any good books on script writing?" The basic ones, How to Write Movies for Fun and Profit by Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Garrett is a pretty good one. Another one is Story by Robert McKee. He does a lot of the functions of story and what people are interested in seeing on the human side of things. However, his commentary on the history of some film productions is kind of wrong. Just to let you know on that. But a lot of the other basics are pretty good. It's a good start to have over there. Let's see. There's How to Manage Your Agent is a good one. That's business side of things. That is pretty useful. You can read Save the Cat, but you're wasting your time, in my opinion. It's Sid Field. I don't think is a very good source for information. He's overused and not often reliable. I'm just gonna have to save this. What do we got here? What am I gonna save this as? There we go. Yeah, so I'd say get started there, and then just try and find screenwriting message boards, blogs, websites. Look for the free ones. They're usually the ones that most professional screenwriters use. They're pretty good. Charlie's here, says, "Hail chat and script. This is new." Yeah, this is just doing some of my other things that I do on the side. It's a Canadian thing. Not a whole lot of other writers explore 3D modeling or effects or anything of that nature. I like to dabble in it just because it's fun. And also, this is a job. I'm actually making money trying to put this together, and I'm just sharing the process with you all because why not? Read by Nature says, just reminds me that I've been thinking of GTA 2 recently. I like the idea of retrofuturism and would like to see more things in that vein. I think there's an aesthetic to it, and I think it's a little overdue for a rational type of update, like taking the aesthetic styles and just making it reconcile more with the type of technology that we have today. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. That's kind of weird. Let's see. 0. Okay. The whole aesthetic, says Joey, reminds me of the Pitch Black Riddick series. I remember Pitch Black Riddick. They were really, it was just small. Started out as a small indie film, and then they tried to go epic. Didn't quite take off, but I thought it was a pretty interesting. Pretty interesting premise. It's kind of like Conan the Barbarian in space, to a degree. Neil asks, is it wise when pitching to state how long your script is? Because if I wrote a script, ideally I'd want a 90-minute movie to see if I can tell a good story in the shortest amount of time. The basic parameters of a script is that you say it's either a half-hour pilot, hour-long comedy, or a feature film. They'll worry about page count when if they like your pitch enough to read it. Ideally, you want to have a disciplined page count because the more concise you are with how you tell your story, the more confident the people reading it are going to be in you and your writing that this is going to work, especially if they like the premise. If you have a great premise and it doesn't look like it's going to work because the writing is kind of sloppy, they might still option it, but they'll probably hire someone else to rewrite it and make it more cohesive. So... and as a result, you're not going to get as much money. So it's always in your best interest to try and be as cohesive and disciplined as you can with your writing. Okay. All right. So this one doesn't look like it's working. So we're just going to get rid of you. And oops. Don't need you, but we will need a new center point. There we go. I'll just do a quick save. All right. Joey says, Carl Urban was great Necromonger. Having him come back in Riddick 3 was good. I haven't seen Riddick 3, or I don't think I've seen Riddick 3. I remember it ends with, like, what you kill, you keep type of thing. That's the last quote I remember. Joey says, we need more anthology series to train writers to be concise, like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, or Thriller. Good things come from those farms. Black Mirror was an attempt to do that. So yeah, that was one other show. Sorry, just got to drink more of this terrible tea. Oh, jeez. Read by Nature says, anime was decent. bit iffy on art, but Chronicles floundered, and that took most of the sales out. Oh, is that for like Riddick, I guess? Game was arguably the best of the franchise, though. Oh, that's pretty cool. Never played the game. Neil says, agreed. I just remember listening to Chris Gore talking about how long movies are, and having seen Puss in Boots, the Last Wish, it's amazing how much that movie accomplishes in its limited time frame. Yes. Oh yeah. I am a big believer in the concise storytelling. It shows how much skill and talent you have when you can tell a very compelling story in a short amount of time. Part of like what I posted on Patreon this morning, in which you can all read now, because it's on the basic tier membership, and when you sign up, you get a 7-day free trial. There's no commitment, no obligations required. Of course, I would appreciate your support, but if you just want to see the back catalog and the articles that I've posted on that tier, you can. And if it's something you like, I'd appreciate your support. Otherwise, no obligations. But I did post today about pitching. I did have a client recently ask me some questions about that, which were really great, and something that I don't often use in my consults, but I'm thinking I might start incorporating in the future. Because I like focusing mostly on the writing side of things. The business aspect is always complicated, but it is also very, very fascinating. So yeah, I'm going to explore that a little bit more. But before I do, I wanted to just test the waters to see if that is something people might be interested in. Does that work? Let's try with you and you. Yeah, that works. I think he'll like that. Will it work for here? Won't work with that one, though. Of course. But yes, I talked about pitching. And that part there, as part of a response to... That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. As part of a response to a Film Courage video, which is also very good. I highly recommend it as well. But the woman in that video was saying things that if you are a first-time writer and you get into a room to pitch your story and you take her advice, you are going to most likely never pitch to that person again. Because you do not have 15, 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to pitch your story when you're pitching to an executive. They don't like to give people that are starting out, that are new, that much time at all. You get that time when you crawl your way up. Meaning that the first executive you talk to likes it and introduces you to the next and the next and the next and the next. That's how your pitches get longer. And even then, you're spending less time pitching the actual concept of the story and more time talking about it, answering their questions, fielding their own input and notes that they have of what they would want to see with your premise. So yeah, don't go in to your very first pitch with someone and be like, yeah, I'm going to tell you my half-hour pilot. I'm going to tell you it in 10 minutes. They're going to roll their eyes. They're going to fall asleep. They're going to be checking their phone, making appointments right in front of you because they want to be actively participating in this pitch just as much as you do. And to do that, you have to get them interested quickly and asking you questions quickly. So you don't want to be the only one in the room talking for 10 minutes straight about your movie or pilot or what have you. You want to get them on the edge of their seats interested in that. And if you check out that Patreon article, it'll give you far more other details. Galadorn 2 says, worked on a show called Dark Web a few years back. It was supposed to be like Black Mirror, but never watched it. Oh, never heard of that. Charlie says, the pitching article is great. Well, thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let's see. Got that. We got that. Now there's some sort of dial here. Oh, I got that wrong in the first time. Okay, that makes sense. What was I looking at when I was trying to figure that out? Okay. There we go. Kitty Bear says, the Riddick game was fun. Maybe I should replay it. It's the story about how he got his eyes with night sight and escaping the prison. Oh, cool. That's pretty cool. Joey, oh yeah, the Riddick anime was back when doing an animated co-movie with with a movie was a thing. The Animatrix scanners, turn of the century. I remember that fad. I remember they were doing that up until 2007, I think, maybe even 2009. I remember that. I remember the cross promotion. It was basically just trying to take advantage of the at-home market with slightly lower cost productions. Not a bad idea overall, but just it was very abused. You get companion films to everything. Get Smart, that movie. I remember they shot 2 movies at the same time when they made Get Smart. And I thought it was pretty clever because it was very, very cheap. And so they shot the original Get Smart film with Anne Hathaway and Steve Carell. And then they shot with the secondary characters their own feature film that had Patrick Warburton in it for a bit. And both worked a little for what they were doing. Yeah, I remember that very well. That was quite a risk. Didn't exactly pay off. They were hoping they were going to get a comedy franchise out of it. Sadly, it did not work out that way. Read by Nature says, so it wouldn't be a great idea to have a 5-minute animatic trailer for your pitch because it would engage them right away. 5 minutes? Not for your first one. If you have like maybe a 30-second animatic at the start, that's fine. Again, it's all about time. Like these guys have to go through 1,000 or so pitches a week on a 5-hour workday, and they have to get in as many as they can per day, per possible. And then the ones that they remember and that they think can sell goes to the next tier. So they have to get through that quickly. If you waste their time, they are not going to want to talk to you again. So you don't waste your time. You basically have to think of it like your first pitch is an elevator pitch. So between riding from the first floor to the 5th floor on your average elevator, that's the time you got. Could be anywhere from like 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And so make it tight, make it concise. Really what you want to do, because you are a writer, you want to capture them with the power of your words. And then the next phase, as you get closer and closer to the very top, where they're probably going to give you a go or a no, that's where you can start producing art, animatics, casting options, especially if you got people that are named and interested. You can always open with that. Like, say, hypothetically, you've got a screenplay with Nick Cage who wants to do it. And you've got a proof that Nick Cage wants to do it by way of an email or a letter of intent or something. That's how you open it. Then that gets them piqued and interested because Nick Cage is still a marketable Hollywood asset. And yeah, and then you go from there. You're like, well, what's Nick Cage doing? Well, he's doing this X story or what have you. And you just lean into who he is, what's the conflict, and what's at stake if he loses. And that's how you kind of start. Willie the Monkey King asks, hey, Script Doctor, does your free trial work like a YouTube membership or does it work like most free trials? It's through Patreon. It works. This is a new thing that Patreon has incorporated. I'd actually reached out to support to ask them about this, and apparently I was one of many, many, many that did. And I just wanted to make it accessible. So I believe you just do the normal sign-up process for the free trial, but unfortunately, I don't get any notifications on the tracking of that. So, but you can cancel without any issues, and I don't believe there's any charges taking place until after the free trial, which case, when I suggested that they do it to have a commitment button to be pressed, so when your trial ends up, you get the option to commit or cancel out. I don't know if that's going to be the case because I don't know how to play around with that on the customer side of things. But the last thing I want is for someone to sign up, forget about it, and not use it. And yeah, because that's just bad business. That's not what I like. I'm not trying to do it like the streaming service, even though my tiers do mock streaming services. All right, so we got that part there. We got that part there. Let's work on the engine. Oops. All right. Joey says, minutes are ages when you're sitting through someone you're not interested in. Yes, they are. Absolutely. Yeah, when I was first pitching, when I had a lot of people just stare at me silently. I remember I was pitching to James Wan's company one point, and the executive that I was pitching to did not look like an executive. He actually looked like he was a carjacker. It was really funny. I actually, when he was not listening to me, because I never learned to do take 5 or 10 minutes to do your pitch. I always was taught right at the start, get it done in like 90 seconds. And one of the funny things I did is because he was not listening to me, he was basically there, I guess, sent to listen to my pitch when he didn't want to do it. So I just started making fun of him in the pitch, and he didn't pick up on it until the very end. And it was pretty cool. I don't think he works for James Wan anymore because he passed over a lot of really good ideas. I had friends that sent that pitch to him with some really good stuff that was exactly what James Wan was looking for, and that guy did not pass it along, which is a requirement of their job. That's the other part too. It's not so much they have to impress the individual that's listening to you, but if the idea is something that you know the person you're pitching to or the company you're pitching to is what they're looking for, it is the obligation of that executive to keep an ear out for it. And a lot of them don't like to do that. They just don't, for whatever reason. Okay, so we got you. That's your engine drive. I am pretty sure when I finish doing this, he's going to have some notes for me, which is fine. I'm down for notes. Okay, so I'm supposed to do the clamps. That's pretty small. I bet he'd probably want more. No, that's what he's got for now. Okay, that'll work. All right, so we got that part there. We got that part there. Okay, so that's looking pretty neat. Now, the tricky part is the rocket ship looking center, which I have not been having much success with prior. That's not what I want to do. I want to get rid of you. There we go. All right. So we've got Willie the Monkey to say. Sorry, I already read that one. Neil. So the general gist is make every minute count and make your pitch engaging. It's a lot like writing in a way. Every word, line of dialogue, beat, counting. Yes. And talk casually. Talk like you're excited, but don't talk like, hey, kids, here's the wild world of magic. We're going to talk like this. Don't do that. People will hate you if you talk like that. It's like talking down to somebody. Hey, we got Loki from Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Hey, sir. Thanks for swinging by. Loved your show this morning. It says afternoon script. Well, afternoon to you, sir. Oh, God, that tea's terrible. Gotta drink it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for swinging by. Yeah, so yeah, you want to talk fun, engaging. Uh, even when they say talk to me like I'm a 4, they don't actually mean in tone. They just mean in content. Willie the Monkey King's music saying, "What are you making, Script Doctor?" I am taking these sketches my friend and colleague has drawn of a spaceship that hauls like a truck, like a freighter, truck driver stuff. Taking a spaceship version of that, trying to render it in a 3D model for them for their project. And I've got a whole bunch of their sketches here, which is really cool looking ship, but it's a little tricky to make in a 3D model as I'm starting to learn and understand why he's hired me to do it instead of doing it himself, which I'm pretty sure he could probably do, but would be frustrated as hell to do so. So let's see if we can make a rocket. I'm going to use... yeah, that could work. Charlie asks, what can you work on if you're a WGA and WGC member during the strike? You can work on anything for a company that is not on the list of struck companies or associated with any of the lists. Yeah, you can't work for any subsidiaries or associates with regards to the struck companies, but if the company is not on the strike list, you are good to go. And unfortunately, the strike list is pretty big, but it's the major studios essentially. You can work on some. You can work on some independent things. The other part too is that if those independent productions are a WGA signatory, you are also technically prohibited from working on them as well. So it's a very, very complicated aspect. If you are a member, union member, and you do have a job opportunity to write a screenplay or story or what have you, reach out to your local WGA captain, or you can email one of the 2 representatives on the WGA website with the parameters of your job, and they will let you know if it's good or not to go. All right, so let's see here. That doesn't bode well. So let's... Nope. Nope. Nope, that's not what I want to do either. Might have to use the... Yeah, I can't manipulate the angle I want. Huh. You'd technically be like right here, I think. But you're also supposed to be down and curved. Might have to use another box. Kitty Bear says, no matter how I talk in real life, I talk down to most people I meet because I'm 6 feet and most people in my town are way shorter. The only people that don't are those taller than me. Oh, I know that joke. That's a good one. Well played, Kitty Bear. Well played. Galadorn 2 says commercials. Some commercials, if they're directly done by advertisers and they're not being hired by another a specific studio to do it, yeah, you can probably get some work from that. I I do know the Animation Guild is technically on strike. They're not the same as the WGA, but they do have a lot of similar parameters. I also know that for some reason, Hollywood likes to really split hairs when it comes to animation and regular writing. And yeah, so there's that aspect to it as well. That's not gonna work for me. That part can. All right, let's try this sphere aspect again. Let's go 6, 1.5, 1.5, so 6. Kind of like Space Pill. Do like that part. I think that kind of matches up with what's going on and there we go. Let's see here. Willie Monkey says, you think the reason the guild splits hairs is because a lot of animators hatch out the story through storyboards versus scripting? No. not in my experience, they don't. The ones that draw are not the ones that are dictating the story, unless it's some sort of international company. Most of the time it's writing first, and then animation comes afterwards. In fact, animation is one of the last parts. Concept designs start pretty early, around the same time as the screenwriting process. And then they get their scripts made, and then they start doing they get their models, then they start doing their voice casting. And then while they're casting for voices, they're doing the early stages of storyboarding, which is based off of the screenplay. And then from there, they go into recording. And then once it's all recorded, they cut their master track together. And then they send it off to the animation studios overseas with whatever notes that they have and storyboards. It's then animated, then gets sent back. They then recut it together, and if they have to do any sort of re-recording, they will, and then tweak it. And it's a back and forth process like that, and it takes around 6 to 8 months just to do one episode. Usually, might be faster now, but the last time I remember my friends and colleagues working on that type of stuff, that's the time frame that they gave me, which is quite a length. Would that work? Let's see here. That part sucks, but we can fix that later. That's not going to work, but that's interesting. Anthony Spence says, did you get my Patreon request? Let me see. Let's see. Nothing on the email. We're just popping into the Patreon. Anthony Spence, I have no notifications on my Patreon, no emails, no DMs, nothing. No, I did not get your Patreon request, so I'm sorry. Yeah, it's nothing. Not seeing anything here. If you did, what was it? Maybe I can send something to Patreon support as a reference to help get that sorted out. So I apologize, but no, I didn't get anything there. Kitty Bear says, what I never get about space sci-fi series is why all the ships are aerodynamic. They don't have to in space if they do not have to land on planets. If they don't have to land on planets, they don't need to be. But if they do, like getting resources or in the event of a crash, aerodynamic requirements are usually done to mitigate the damage of the craft. So either it's aerodynamic and has a broad surface area to create lift and slow themselves down. That is one of the aspects that I learned back in high school when that'll work. When I was maybe it won't. When I was learning basic architectural design and modeling way back in the way, where we used AutoCAD. If anyone's familiar with that program, pretty much like this, but far more basic, primarily for blueprints only. So let's see. How do I want to do this? Let's. There is a way I can kind of have some fun with these little fins up here. And I think if I do this, that work? No, don't want to do that. Let's try it this way then. There we go. Don't need you. All right. I mean, I think it's coming quite nicely. I think once I get this mirrored on over and we get this part of the side filled out, the basic shape will be that I got here will be there. I have to put in like a dish. I have to put in where the control pit is, and there's apparently living quarters too. So it's a pretty little. It's like a mobile home tractor trailer for space type of deal. I just got some regular water because, gosh, that tea is terrible. I think let's try a little experiment with this. Ooh, that works nice. That's a little. That's my little flourish I'm adding on there. I dig that. I'm digging that. Okay. Let's try a chamfer. There we go. Let's try that again, maybe with a fillet. Galadorn 2. Large space bodies like planets, stars, and singularities still have gravitational pulls. It doesn't hurt to be aerodynamic. Plus, some aerodynamic principles can help the structural strength. That is true. Part of Pythagorean's theorem, if you want to get a bit more complicated in that nature. Let's see. Is that... Ooh, that kind of works. Kind of weird, but interesting. Okay, so that part doesn't. All right. this be tricky. Well, at least it's let's bring it back to this line here. I wonder. Let's just hide you for a moment. Here. Do an extrude. Do 5 degrees. That works. Let's it's just the materials. All right, that's pretty cool. Anthony Spess says, it's for advertising my book that's on Amazon. Should I go through all the news networks? It's a science fiction book. Go through any means that you think will best serve your story and get the word out there. That's the best advice I can say. If you're publishing it through Amazon, share it out there. Share it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Do a YouTube trailer of your book. Anything really to just try and get people to check it out. Oops, that's not what I wanted. But we can do something cool here, maybe. Yeah, that'll work. And then smoothing it out. There we go. Cool. All right, I think that's cool. A little retro sci-fi. Think they'll like that. Read by Nature says, I imagine in part aerodynamic spaceships often look more aesthetically pleasing generally, and also in part the association with planes in certain designs. Yeah, I mean, listen, the plane was the one that worked, and so we were going to get variations of that, no doubt. All right, so I think that's worked out well. So let's do a quick mirror, see what we get the whole. Oops, wrong side. It's not right either. We can fix that. Okay. Oops. Solid mirror plane. There we go. Okay. So that's looking pretty neat. Okay, it's got some bottom heavy natures there. It's got the nice little traditional rocket side thing. Maybe I can put some fins on it for some flair. Maybe my colleague will like that. Nassim Shambor says, starting to look rad. Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking it's looking pretty neat. See, one aspect that's interesting is that in the sketch, it's kind of like more like this. Maybe I can do like that. I want to keep it larger. Mean eyebrows. So Joy, yeah. Anthony Spence says needs a test flight. Yeah, I guess it would, wouldn't it? Let's take you. Oops. There we go. There we are. So apparently, according to the little sketch that he has here, this is a basically an airlock that connects to whatever cargo container goes in this empty space here, and that is clamped on by this guy. And that reminds me, I gotta get you mirrored. Over here. And yeah, that's what it is. And I'm guessing these things maybe extend or whatnot. So I'm wondering if he's gonna have a version where maybe these two guys kind of clamp together and it's just got like a nice little ring here. I'm gonna experiment with that later, but yeah, this is what it's kind of looking at, because you got the two main engines in the back, which I also have to mirror there. There we go. I'll just do a quick merge for now. And yeah, I gotta figure this thing out. So yeah, that kind of works. All right. And then somewhere in this section is going to be the control. Let's see here. Oh, the tea does not taste better even when it's cold. Ugh. Okay, sorry about that. Storm King here in the chat says self-stealing stem bolt. Nobody knows what that looks like, right? But yeah, that could be something of it. Could be indeed. Let's see. There's supposed to be something in there that's more rockety. So it's supposed to put a dish on it. And it's not like a satellite. Well, I mean, it is like a satellite dish, but it's more like traditional to Star Trek deflector dish. It's supposed to be like right here at the bottom. So the question is, how do I want to do that? I want to keep the cone aspect of it. Oops. Maybe maybe you use a cylinder. Let's not put you over there. Let's... that might work. Let's see. Reba Nature says, at a downward angle so it doesn't jut out so much, huh? Was there something before that? So would that be the front, much like the forklift? No, the front. The front is here. This is the front. This is the back. So it's basically like a truck, where a truck carries its load on the back, it drags it. This ship does the same thing in principle. Nassim Chambor says, how far are you going with secondary details like metal bulks, and are you going to do that as a hard surface or normal and bump mapping it? I'm only doing the basic model. I think my colleague is going to then take this model and do it either himself or have someone come in and add the finer details. I'm just trying to get the basic shape for them. Let's hit the subtract part. That seems interesting. Would that work? I think it might. Yeah. Or is that a little bit too far back? Let's try a little closer. There we go. Don't need you anymore. No, let's do 5. Yeah. Bring in, maybe like that. Oh, if I'm bringing it in like that, I got more room to play with. So let's get you back to that. And we will put you up just another 5. There we go. I think that works. Choose the dish part. Okay. It's looking pretty neat, in my opinion. I think I'll be satisfied with that. Now we just need to create the flight deck, as it were. So I'll do you and you. And you. There we go. It's kind of big. But it is the shape that's requested, so let's try that egg. Let's move you down by 1. Or actually, no, let's go by 5. Let's try that. It's not bad. Maybe a bit higher. Because again, this is supposed to be a ship but someone is living in at the same time. You know what? We could actually have some fun with this. Yeah, let's try that. It's not very good on the visual side of things that way. So let's... Oh, this is tricky, but, you know, this is part of the fun of design. Okay, so let's keep you here. Closer to the nose. Let's go back just a couple. Okay. Let's see if this one will work out well. Oh wait, I know what I want to do. If I can reverse it. There we go. Let's try it that way. Yeah, that's looking pretty cool. All right, so yeah, that's the front of the ship there. And does this thing have any weapons? Possibilities. Okay, sketches have little question marks for weapons. All right. Oh god, that's terrible tasting. Okay. All right, so that's okay, that's pretty that's the basics right now. Thinking that's pretty good. Don't need you anymore. Joy, my grandma, what a big tongue you have. Yeah. Yeah, that's there. That's pretty good. I'll see. I think the basics are here. I mean, what do you guys think with regards to this? Like, I should probably incorporate like landing gear somewhere. But and probably maybe like make a hatch here, like an internal cargo bay, because that would be pretty cool. We can do that. But yeah, how are you guys thinking? Charlie says, I missed something. I missed the beginning. What's the tea? Oh, it's this chamomile tea concoction that my girlfriend's making me drink because, you know, as you get older, certain parts of your body slow down in one area and speed up in another. And this is supposed to balance you out. And it worked for her father, who drinks it twice a day, every day. And so I've got to do it now. It's tastes terrible. Cinnamon does not mix well with water, but it's the only flavor that's in this. And this chamomile tea, and I'm not a fan of chamomile. I'm not a fan of tea, coffee, none of those things. But you know, if you want to stay healthy, you gotta do things you don't like, which sucks. All right, let's make a cool little internal cargo hatch. See if my colleague will think that's cool. We spent hours yesterday talking about this this ship and some of the stuff that he wants to do with it. Unfortunately, again, I don't know what medium he's prepping it for. So, not that it really kind of matters. If it's cool enough, it can work in any type of design base in general. Not always, but in general, it can. So let's see, is that? I think that can work. There we go. There's a little interior hatch for it. Joey says it's a whole 50s Tom Swift kind of style. Really? Cool. Thank you. That's the goal, is trying to make it 50s. I wish I could isolate textures, but I guess that's something that's going to be done on the other whoever takes it after this part. Joey says, ornithopter hatch. Kind of. See, what I got here. So, okay, so that's a hatch that leads into the cargo container. Let's do a quick mock-up of a cargo container, just to show what it might kind of look like. And I would not be surprised if one of the notes is to have some sort of hinge here and here so that these can expand to fit various sizes of cargo. Actually, there's a technique I can do with an array. But I'll do that in a bit later. First, Let's go, what, 3? Yeah, let's go at 3. Let's go at 3. Let's pull you back just a little bit. So yeah, that's basically how it'd be. Like, oh, you got this big cargo container. Let's make this longer, or at least like that. Like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so you can see, like, oh yeah, it's a freight starship. Carries this thing. You can land it down. Could be a larger container with a bunch of smaller containers on the inside. Let's do an extrusion. See, now I'm just like kind of writing this for him now. But it's new. Let's see, is that... Yeah, that's good. Now we do that. Path. There. How many? There we go. Boom. Nice little freight thing there. And yeah, there we go. Look at that. It's a nice little, got the little... All rocket ships look like something like that nature. Read by Nature says, if I was going to put landing gear on that, I maybe go with something similar to a sled landing gear of a helicopter, but that could take away from the overall design aesthetic you're going for. I think the landing gear would be more like an internal thing, so it would extend out. Probably just make slots for it. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I can change the color of this. Let's make it kind of industrial green. There we go. There we are. Joey, stack them low, stack them high. Multi-decker container truck. Yeah. So there we go. That's look at that. I think that looks like it could. I think that looks like it has a little bit more functionality with the little aesthetic there. And let's see. I've had to turn on... You know what's really pathetic right now, especially in Canada, is that because it's summer, air conditioning has been turned on in all the buildings and whatnot. So the air conditioning is on in my apartment that I have no control over. That's controlled by the building. And it's so cold that I have to put on a space heater from time to time, which is so stupid. And when you ask the building manager to turn it down, they're like, can't. It has to be this. It's like, listen, just it's cold all the time in Canada. When it's finally warm, let us be a little warm. Don't tease us with that stuff. Okay. Okay, let's yeah. Is that working well there? I'm going to have to hide you temporarily. Oops. What do I want to do? Because I can get... Oops. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's see if we can make some little gear parts for the for landing gear. It doesn't have to be too big. Now the question is, should I go just 2 or should we make it like a tripod? Tripods are cool. Read by Nature says, definitely sets the scene now. Oh, cool. Joy, pontoons, float boat. Yeah. Pontoons would be pretty cool too. I don't know if that would work in this particular aesthetic. But let's pull you in. Yeah, that might work. Nope. There we go. Alright, so let's take you. See if we can split. Split. Just hide you for now. There we go. Hide you. All right, it's got your hatches for your landing gear there. Do a quick save. And Kitty Bird's like, I like the cold. I hate it when it gets over 20 degrees. Oh gosh, it's 30 right now outside, and I wish I could be outside. In fact, if I, man, can I make? I don't know if I could ever operate this remotely outside. That'd be so nice. Have to have a long extension cord. From where I am. Oh God. All right, so let's show solids. Don't need you anymore, or you. Let's. Yeah, nice little. We can have fun with this material. Frosted glass. Clear glass. No. There we are. And then we can just gold. There we go. Basic little coloring. Just to give you guys an interesting aesthetic. Oh, we got that hatch there. There we go. All right. So I think that's a pretty decent, first attempt at this. Storm Kings in the chat says, "Any idea for names?" That's not my choice, not my prerogative. This is someone else's sketch that I have been asked to turn into this little thing here. If I do get notes from this, which I probably will, and I gotta tweak it or do any designs, I will definitely do this again, and make it, have it work out, for that, because this was kind of fun talking to you, just getting this done, creating something almost from nothing, pretty much, except for a couple of sketches that I have here. And Read My Nature says, part of me wants to see wings with propellers on it now to make it an Osprey type aircraft. That would be pretty cool. Rocket fins would be nice. I don't know. I have to find out from what they'll want, but yeah, we'll see how this works out. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here, because in about half an hour, or in about a half an hour. There is a birthday stream for Tom over at Midnight's Edge, and I'm just going to put that in the chat. Tom here. So head on over to that, and show some love. I'll be popping on there for a bit. I do have a couple of other things to deal with first, but that's basically it. So this is hide you. This is the little ship we got there. It's pretty cool, in my opinion. I think it works out well. Got some more stuff to address, but yeah, I'll send him the file, get his notes, and go from there. And if you guys have enjoyed this and you're watching this on the replay, just leave a comment. Let me know, and maybe I'll do another one of these. In fact, this month I might end up doing a bunch of various streams in the morning or later in the afternoon, after around the Midnight's Edge stuff and around some of the others like Loki's Morning's Mischief, film threats stuff. Just to shoot the breeze with you guys, talk about certain things, and hopefully we'll get some information with regards to the Directors Guild's negotiations. In which case I'll see if I can get some people that I know that are directors to pop in and talk about that. Might even see if Robert Meyer Burnett's available. I also know it's Tom Conkle's birthday today. He's a friend of mine as well. So we got two Toms born on the same day, a few years apart. So celebrating birthdays. So I hope they're doing well. And yeah, I think I'm just going to call it right then and there. So everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me while we create this. Maybe I'll create something else. Maybe we can do a poll of what do you want to see me kind of make up next. And maybe I can experiment with maybe we'll do some writing. Maybe I'll come up with something on the fly that I can't possibly sell or use, but just as an exercise for you all. And if you guys are interested in something like that, be sure to let me know, either commenting here or on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. But in the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a wonderful day, rest of your week, and never forget, it all starts